Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Bailey Unicorn Seville. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off side. So starting off first, got your black hitch head here and black lever. You have to have the black lever pulled up to be able to wind the jockey wheel down onto the tow ball. It will then snap down that lever, press up that red button and expose the green ring. You have a breakaway cable just here, which has to be put through the eye point. If you don't have an eye point though, wrap it around the tow bar. Got a gas struck handbrake just here. Now with these, people will usually hear the first click and think that's on. Make sure you do pull it all the way back so that you are fully set up. And then you do also have 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation on your car, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, you have inserts for your legs. The caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs, they're simply used for stabilisation. Now we are using our test equipment today here, so I have a red propane gas bottle with an in-day gas hose that connects onto this regulator. Both sides have to be nice and firmly on, however the receiver that goes onto the regulator does have an O-ring inside it, so don't make it so it's ridiculously tight. Hand tighten it as much as you can and then essentially nip it up using your spanner. Once both sides are firmly connected, twist the gas bottle in the positive or open direction. Black gas hoses, they're all dated, so you can see this one's dated 2025. Black ones will run for 5 years, orange ones will run for 10. Coming round to the opposing side, starting off first, we have an aqua here full of clean drinking water, and then we have your water pump. So the water pump itself connects in and out by just pressing in. You have this plastic cap to go over the top of the aqua to ensure that no nastiness gets in, and then at the bottom we have the strainer. The strainer itself has to sit at the bottom of the barrel to reach the maximum potential of water. If it's not at the bottom of the barrel, it can lead to cough, gasps and splutters. Then to insert it, press it in, flick that little bit on the top down, and that will lock it into place. Just next to it we have your flue. Your flue is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. And just below we've got your motor mover, which will be gone over in collection. Just behind the axle we have your point for your mains lead. Mains lead plugs in nice and easy just like that, and then it's essentially bringing that 240 volt power into the van. Then below we have where both your wastewater from your shower and your sink will come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master that can be emptied out at the appropriate point on site. Then lastly we have your toilet function. So first up, down below we have your cassette toilet. To remove this, you press up on the orange handle and pull out towards you. Now this handle does also extend out and up and can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. Once you've reached the emptying point on site, twist this head to the side, open up this blue cap, and what you want to do is tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually pressing this vent button. Now what I would recommend to do afterwards is open up this cap here, feed in some fresh water, give it a bit of a shake, and again tilt and vent. And on this cap here we have measurements of both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes onto the cap there, twist the head back to the side, and push it in so the orange handle sits behind the white teeth, as then it can't be removed. And just above we have your flush tank. The flush tank itself can hold around 12 litres of water, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10. You can also add a little bit of pink chemical which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell a bit nicer. Now you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so just up here you've got a little drain bung to drain out any remaining water from this compartment. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you leave with it. Then underneath your right hand side seat you have your boiler just here. You can pull back that panel if you ever need to do a reset. And then just down here you can see you've got your flow jets which will pull the water through, and that yellow switch valve. That yellow valve is your drain valve. In its current position, which is the horizontal, that allows the flow of water to come through. When you switch it up to the vertical position, that will drain off any remaining water inside the system. November to March, have it up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan. Anytime you come off site, make sure you drain off the caravan, and we are going to leave that in the vertical position when you do collect it. So do ensure that when you come to first use the caravan, you switch it over. Then with regards to your battery is situated underneath this compartment just here. If you ever need to access it or remove it, you either need a 12 or 13mm spanner. Then underneath your fridge you have all of your trips and fuses, all your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position. Then underneath one of your cupboards you have your brain box for your motor mover and your ignition point just here. Then just here we have your main control panel. So you have the mains on and off switch just here, the lights for internal, awning light on and off. So let me just go outside, and as you can see, awning light is on. And then you have your pump button just here. Now when the water is being drawn through, that light will come on to signify that, and when the boiler is full as it is now, it is not going to be on. You also have a little button here which you can press and see the amount of volts coming in. When you're plugged into mains, that will be an accurate representation of the mains amount. When you only have your battery on, that will show you the battery level. Now with regards to the pump, what you have to do is essentially start it up, and then you come over to your taps and open up on both hot and cold. However, as I've just pressed it on, I usually wait about 2 to 3 minutes. So whilst we do that, I will show you your add wet central heating. So this is for both your heating and your hot water. So comes to this home screen, tells you the internal temperature of the caravan. Press in the menu and it comes to this screen. So first up, you have the house with the thermometer. That is for the internal temperature of the caravan that you desire. You can go down and up in 0.5. You can also press and hold and it will go down or up rapidly. Whatever you set it to, it will get to that temperature in about an hour. Then you have your shower symbol. So that is representative of your hot water. So as the bar is off, that means that there is no hot water being activated right now. Press it in once and it gets the bar to halfway. Halfway will get the temperature of the water to around about 40 to 50 degrees. And then you have full. Full will get it to around about 60 to 70. However, what it does, it prioritizes the water over the heating of the actual caravan for around an hour. After that hour, and it gets the water to temperature, it will then drop it down to midway. You then have your energy sources. So you can either use 1, 2, or 3 kilowatts of electric. Now do be aware that some sites do not have 3 kilowatt capacity, especially if they're busy. So it's always best to just have it on 2. Or you can have gas, or you can have a mixture of gas and 1, 2, and 3. The green means it's active. Then you have this cog button, which is some additional settings. I'm not going to go through the additional settings because we have set this panel to what we believe is the most user-friendly to use. However, if you'd like to have a look inside your book pack to see what it represents, please do so. You can also see here, there's a little green LED showing that it's on. That LED will stay active. The screen will turn off, but the LED will still be there. To turn off the panel completely, meaning no heating or hot water, press in blank screen. Now that it's been about 2 minutes, come over to your tap, open up on both cold and hot, and what you're looking for is essentially that nice steady continuous stream. If there's any pops and splutters like that, that will usually happen at the start, but don't be alarmed, that's usually the water making its way through the system. And just go out to ensure that all of the strainer is sat at the bottom of the barrel. You've got plenty of water, your drain valve's in the correct position, and you don't have any other taps open. But now that it's just had that fiasco out of the way, you can see it's a nice steady continuous stream. Let that run for about 30 seconds, and you can also see here that the green light is on, showing that the water is being replaced back from the aqua to the tank itself. So you can faintly hear a whir showing you that it's being drained back in. But you let this run for about 30 seconds. You can check it on both hot and cold. You can see that when I go over to hot, because there's no hot water, it's beginning to swelter up because it's trying to draw through water that isn't there. But you can also check that on your other taps as well. But you can hear here, faint whir to bring it back in. Still got the green light on. And once that boiler is full, that green light turns off just like that. No more whirring. And then just here we have your hob, grill and oven. Now all of this operates on gas minus the electric plate. Electric plate, just spin that to the side and it will get to temperature. Everything else, press in the dial, twist it to the side and press the igniter. Now what may happen is it may light up and then after a few seconds it may cut off. That is essentially the gas making its way through its system. Just relight everything and it will be fine. This is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all your burners nice and lit. Let's turn it off back to the central position. And then it's the same concepts for your grill and oven. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. You can see one side ignites there, and then sometimes it will essentially just need to be redone up to be able to do the grill. Turn that off. And then lastly, your oven. So press in, and you can see the oven nice and lit there as well. Only other real thing to note, you need to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of these burners are cold to the touch. And you can travel with the gas hose on, but make sure the bottle itself is off. Then just here we have your fridge operation. So you have three different choices for source. You either have gas, you have 13-pin electric, that is not leisure battery, that is only when you're plugged into your car, or mains. Now, whatever you set it to, it will take around 4 hours at maximum potential for the fridge to fully chill. You have a bit of a temperature gauge just here, so the thicker the bar, the more power coming into the fridge. So even at the thickest, it's going to take around 4 hours. And then for gas, you have an igniter just here. Now, usually what would happen is that you have this needle that would go over into the green. Unfortunately, the needle on this one does not work. So what you have to do, if you're wanting to use gas as a source, select it down to the bottom. You have to press in on this and also this button at the same time. You'll hear it gradually begin to tick in. And then once it is lit, it will you'll hear like sort of an engulfing noise, and that means it is then lit on gas. Usually what would happen, the needle will float over into the green. However, on gas, you'll still feel that it's chilling. It's just a gradual process. Then, as you can see, when I turn it off, there's no more light inside the fridge. And just here we have your toilet operation. So, lift up the lid, press in the flush button, and you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push around any water inside the flush tank system. To remove the waste, press away on the handle, opens up the catch, pull it back towards you, and it shuts up. When the cassette toilet is full, there'll be a red light there telling you to go and empty it.